Are you ready to lead with impact? Well, friend, you're in the right place. Today, you can join Carol Fairman and Dr. Guy Henry as they begin exploring what it means to lead with impact. So, pull up a chair, grab your coffee, a pen and paper, and get ready to have some deep conversations with Carol and Guy as they walk you through what it means to lead with impact. Welcome back to Lead with Impact. In this episode, we're diving into one of those most transformative skills that every leader is and or should be striving for, and that would be goal setting. Last time we met, we went over thinking, the foundation of success, and the planning, the blueprint of success for achievement. So, Dr. Guy, you want to give us a recap of the foundations and that blueprint we talked about?
Yeah, we're going to be covering four, and just we talked about thinking and how that's an action, how we really need to intentionally take time to be thinking,
Mhm.
daydreaming, visioning, and things like that. Before we start, the planning
Right.
is that blueprint stage, where we can maybe identify some potential pitfalls. We'll never be able to uncover them all, but maybe we can avoid some. Between thinking and planning, we can really shorten the curve to achieving our goals. But that's not all. Good planning doesn't eliminate all of the obstacles, of course, but it certainly can minimize some of those surprises. Before we start going into the preparing, I think too often people think goal setting is, well, this is my goal. We need to break
Right.
it down into, I think, at least these four
Oh,
steps:
yes.
thinking, planning,
Yes.
and preparing. Preparing is that difference.
Absolutely.
It's like that difference between wishing and winning. I wish this is what I wish to do. In fact, I think we're going to do that sometime. We'll cover the difference between goals and desires, but we need to start
Yes.
preparing.
Absolutely. And it's so critical. And President Ronald Reagan once told us back those 1984 Olympians, if I'm remembering correctly, he said the will to win pales in comparison with the will to prepare to win. And so
That's
preparation
good.
really is the step where those dreams are going to become a reality. It's not glamorous by any stretch of the imagination, but
Yeah.
it's where most of those battles are won or lost, correct?
If we think about it, a lot of our battles are done in that thinking stage, and
Yes,
we start preparing. Preparing is not really doing, but in the sense of achieving the goal, but it's making those preparations, and it's crucial because
yes,
everyone, we talked about that statement by President Ronald Reagan. Everybody wants to win the gold medal. That's the only
right.
reason you go into the Olympics. But
Exactly
very
right.
few are really willing to put in all that time, that effort, that energy that it takes to prepare. It's
Right.
not just running the race, it's all of the preparation. Success doesn't just happen, it
Exactly.
happens in the process of all of those hours, those days, months that lead up to the actual event that you want to achieve that goal.
Absolutely. And it's really you're building consistency, right? You're creating
Mm-hmm.
a daily or weekly routine that through that is really where those hours are accumulated and that success is happening. And so
Mm-hmm.
we really need to invest our time in acquiring the right skills, putting in place the right resources, right? So that we can execute those goals. It's
we don't
it's
always
just
we
power.
don't always have the skills at hand, but that doesn't mean
Right.
we can't do it. Let's
Right.
Okay, in the process while I'm planning, I think I need to learn how to do this. I don't know how
Exactly.
to do this. I don't know how to do A, B, C, D, depending on what your goals are, but I can invest in myself, learn that skill that will make me better in that, whether it's running
Exactly.
in terms of Olympics, but in your business, in your organization, in your ministry. I think we need to plan on acquiring the skills that
Exactly.
give us the return on those resources to be able to achieve the goals.
Exactly. And having the right resources in place, it's a game changer. And so it's so important that we're taking those skills, the ones that we have,
Mm-hmm.
developing what we have, not being afraid to learn new skills, put the
Mm-hmm.
appropriate resources in place. And then we got to focus on the process, not just that outcome. And by
Oh yeah.
doing that, putting those skills in place, getting those resources, doing the thing that you need to do, that is just a number one foundation right there. Because again, it's not just the outcome, it's what's leading up to, like we
It's
were
that
talking about, the
process. Yeah.
hours of preparation, 4 bite-sized steps to actually get there. That is just as important as that outcome.
Hmm. Well,
So,
that
yeah.
preparation is the part of those 4 steps where dreams transition. It's that transitioning into the
Yes,
reality of it. It's really not
exactly.
the it's not really the stars and stripes and flashy, glamorous part of the process of
Right.
achieving our goals. But this is where most battles are won or lost, is
Exactly.
in this planning stage. Are we preparing? Are It is the focus of the process, like you say. We
Right.
are often so times looking at the outcome. We're not looking at what's in front of us. What's the process that I need? Because
Exactly.
success is built on that preparation. Success
Exactly.
doesn't just happen because I got up this morning. It's forged those earlier mornings that you get up when you'd rather sleep. It's the time you're
Yes.
practicing or studying. It's the time you're going through those planning sessions where you iron out details and you get other people involved. It's those moments where you have to sit in quiet and just
Exactly.
start writing all those things down. So there's a lot to planning that I
It
think
is.
oftentimes we have that tendency. And of course, as we're looking at now we're in the new year and all this, it's like people set goals, but they don't
Right.
have the process to achieve those goals. And I think
Right.
that this is going to be very helpful.
Yes, it's so important. And I love that you mentioned I'm an early riser, getting up and setting the intention for the day, making sure you're driving the day's not driving you.
Yeah.
All of those things really set you up, right? Because that is where
Mm-hmm.
that battle is won, because you're getting up, you're showing up with a routine and practicing it over and over again, where you're reviewing the goals, taking steps. Are you time blocking? There's a million ways to execute, right? Because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
through that execution that it really becomes a reality. And so
Mm-hmm.
you have to
Which,
have
by the
that
way, since you're
successive
talking about,
routine.
is part number 4, is that step number
It is
4,
part
right?
4. It is. And I was going to get there.
Yeah.
I was going to tie that in, but it is so true. Those things spring you board you into that,
Mm-hmm.
turning it into this incredible reality. And so it is that bridge of preparation and achievement, and it's where those dreams are really transformed into those tangible results, and it's where that
Yeah.
plan is coming to life, right? It's so
Mm-hmm.
exciting. And so the execution is so important, and we need to work inside our natural gifts, right? And if we can't, that's okay. It's in that prepping and planning that we're getting
Mm-hmm.
resources, that we're building out those natural gifts,
Mm-hmm.
and or putting those resources in place where we're not really strong. And that's how that
Mm-hmm.
success is going to come together. It's not about your talent. It is nothing to do with luck, but it's
Right.
everything to do with those consistent action steps, being
Right.
completely transparent and honest with yourself, right? That goes
Mm-hmm.
way back to recognizing, what kind of leader am I? What do I need to
Right.
know about myself? Those things matter when you're building out this plan to set you up for success. And it really
Mm-hmm.
it breaks down into two very simple ingredients, right? Dr. Guy, we know 5% is going to be that inspiration, the vision, the dream, that big burning desire in the belly, the idea. But
Mm-hmm.
95% of it is actually taking the action. It's the persistence, the effort, the perseverance. And that's the biggest difference between those who succeed, right? And those
Mm-hmm.
who don't. It's knowing that they have to execute. It's important.
Oftentimes we like the execution part
Yes,
until we
yes.
get to the execution part. In other
Mm,
words, when you actually are executing, then is it's no longer about luck. It really is
right.
the talent. It is the results of the thinking, the planning, the preparation, so that
Yes,
when we do execute, because that 95% preparation is the thinking, it is the planning, it is the
it
preparation.
is.
But now when we go to
Powerful.
execute, we're executing with the tools that we needed.
Yes.
It's not like we get
Yes.
up January 1st and these are my new goals and we start executing them. No, we have to
Right.
still go through this. The
Yes.
big and that biggest difference between those who succeed and those that don't isn't their ability to dream, it's their ability to execute and
Yes.
consistently execute. When it didn't work as well as you wanted it to, you still executed. You go back to the
Right.
plan. You go back to sometimes we have to go back to rethinking some of those things. But that's it's
Yes.
that tenacity because things
Yes.
don't always appear as we originally thought they would. That's why we have to be able to continually be disciplined, be willing to
Yes.
step into maybe something uncomfortable, maybe
Right.
something hard and inconvenient, like maybe getting up early or earlier.
Yes.
Success needs our attention.
It does.
Success
And
needs our attention, and that's part of the
right.
execution.
Absolutely. And motivation is great, but it's only going to get us so far. It's not reliable. And so we need to look at how do we strengthen that execution muscle, right? How do we strengthen that? We got to stay consistent even when
Yeah,
that motivation wanes. And so
yeah. I have
motivation
a
again,
saying about motivation. I don't mean to
yeah,
interrupt, but
no, go
uh,
ahead.
action precedes motivation. We can't get
Yes,
motivated to act, but when we act, motivation will follow. So, yeah, get up, do the
exactly.
workout. I didn't want to, but I did. Now I feel
Yes.
get up and study that article, get up and dive deep, do the
Yeah,
podcast, watch this, build yourself and create those muscles that will definitely take
exactly.
you. But it's that consistency.
And it's that consistency and those habits, those things that we're building when that motivation fades and it gets
Yeah.
hard. It's those habits and those are the things that are going to carry us through when it gets hard because
Mhm.
sometimes those results are not going to be immediately visible. And so we got
Right.
to roll up our sleeves and roll up
Mhm.
our pants and sludge through the cement sometimes.
Yeah.
So that is why consistency matters, right? So much more
Mhm.
than the motivation. And the people who achieve their goals are those who keep showing up every single day even when they
Mhm.
don't feel like it. Like you said, I don't feel like doing the workout, but we're going to do it anyway. We know it's good for us. We know it's going to get
Mhm.
our heart healthy, whatever it is. And so that was a great example that you started with about getting in shape. There's days that we're just not going to want to do it, but we push through. We are focused.
Mhm.
We know we have a routine, we have a system, and the discipline is always going to win over the emotion
Every
time.
time. Yeah, yeah. You know,
Every
those
time.
little habits that we create that makes the execution easier. If we
Yes.
can if we do it enough and we can make it the habit, I'm getting up earlier to read, study, prepare
Yes.
myself, whatever it is. Once it's a habit, the execution becomes easier as it is
Yes.
in exercise or the Olympics or whatever. So I think that's an important key about the execution.
I
And then
agree.
celebrate some of those small
Yes.
wins. I
That's
know
right.
we're hearing this more often recently, and I like it, is celebrate the small wins. That's something I've had to learn and am still learning. Celebrate the
Yeah,
small win because that helps us with that motivation, right?
those big goals can feel so overwhelming, especially when
Yeah.
that finish line is feels just so far away. It's so
Way out
easy to
there.
get discouraged. So I
Yeah.
agree, absolutely. Celebrating those small victories, it's crucial to the process because it reminds us how far we've come back. So many people say, "Oh, don't look
Yeah.
back in the rear view mirror, just keep pushing forward." Sometimes we got to take a glance because it's important to know how far we've come. That's what's going to keep
Mm-hmm.
that motivation alive. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just powerful.
And taking a look back, and it's a look back. It's not going back. It's a quick look.
Yes.
I did achieve this. Write it down, mark those things so you can say,
Yes.
I'm not there, but I'm not where I was. And so I'm in the process. I am making, and maybe we don't get it done as quickly as we had hoped,
Right.
but,
Do we
you know,
ever?
yeah, but just not quitting, just continuing and reward yourself, whatever
Yes.
that may be. Give yourself a break, take a 30-minute break, or go do something that would helps you be motivated to come back at it and,
Right.
and completing
And
it.
oftentimes it looks like those small rewards are great, but what also helps is reminding yourself of your why during those tough
Yes.
times. And so the road to success is hardly ever smooth. And if it's a smooth road, I want you to reevaluate what you're doing because you're taking the easy way and you're not really, I don't think you're really going where you could be going. So I'm going to put
Hmm.
the check there. You need to really look because it's not always smooth. And the challenges come with it. They make us stronger, but they also can make us lose our focus and we want to give up. But that's when you really need to get connected to that why. And that's going to
Hmm.
help you really digging deep into that goal, that fire burning passion that brought you this far.
Yeah.
Connect with
And
that. Keep that alive. Write it down. Keep it visible so you don't lose sight because that's
yeah.
the deeper reason behind that goal. And so
Yeah,
it's just
don't
so
get the
important.
execution in front of your why. Keep your why in front.
Exactly. That's
Oh, this
right.
is
That's
why I'm
right.
doing it. This is why I'm doing it. If you go
That's
back to the preparing for the Olympics or even just the workout, why am I doing this?
that's right. And running
Well, I'm
towards it.
doing this because this is the outcome that I want. And keeping that in mind, whether it's for your ministry, your business, family.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
many
and
personal goals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I believe
It's
these same
powerful.
principles work for, like you say, those personal goals as well as your organization or whatever. So
Yeah.
remember, we're all leaders. We're
Yes.
responsible to lead ourselves. And it may not always be fun to do the execution. And sometimes it's not even fun to do the thinking because we want to be doing, but getting these
Yeah.
steps, thinking, planning, preparing, and executing, I believe are key steps to achieving our goals.
I agree. It's messy. It's hard. It requires sacrificing, right? Comfort for the sake of growth
Oh,
because it's putting us out and outside of our comfort zone. But
yeah.
that's where everything is going to happen. And the best plans in the world are useless, right? If they aren't followed by that action. And it's just so important to execute, even if it's imperfect, right? That
Right.
imperfect
Yeah.
action, it's going to move
Yeah.
you closer to that goal. And I
Hmm.
want you, and so really today we're encouraging you, show up, stay consistent, celebrate
Hmm.
your progress, never lose sight of your why. Don't be afraid to glance back as you're
Hmm.
springboarding yourself forward.
And don't be
Anything
afraid
else
of
you
the
want to
hard
add?
work. Embrace that hard work as part of
Yes,
the challenge because you're looking at that end result. Um,
exactly.
that execution, even when you don't want to, you continue to
Right.
execute. That's what separates the dreamers from the achievers. There's a
Exactly.
lot of people that dream, but those that achieve are those that just go through this process and every day they take an action, take a
Yeah.
step. It could be a small step. It could be an imperfect action, but do something that helps you to go towards the or keep you in process of achieving that
Yes.
goal.
So good. So good. So
Um,
go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I think we talked about this little quote we found. Success isn't about luck or
Yes.
talent. It's about showing up, doing the work, and staying the course. So whatever your
Absolutely.
challenge is, whatever goals you want to set for yourself, pick two or three. Don't have a long list. Pick a couple.
Yes.
These are the ones you
Never.
want to work on and just apply these four steps: thinking,
Absolutely.
planning, preparing, and executing.
Excellent. I think that is a great way to end today's episode. And stay tuned, guys. We've got some really good things down the pipeline for you. We're going to talk further about this. If you need help with goal setting, action steps, reach out to us at we lead with impact at gmail.com and we will be glad to help you get your goals mapped out. Just put
Yes.
Guy or Carol in the memo line so that we know that you are looking for help from one of us. But we have great tools in place in our toolboxes that we want to put in your toolbox so that we can help
Excellent.
you put these goals in in action, right? We want to help you get where you're going. Are you training for a marathon? We can help with that. Are you trying to retain donors? We can help with that. Are you trying to build team culture? We can help with that. You name it, we're going to help you do it. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are in your journey. We're going to help you find the success that you are looking for. So again, email us and we will be glad to help you. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you
All
next
right.
time.
See you next time.